Right, OK, Robert. Well, thanks very much for agreeing to talk with us.
Yes.
That's very kind of you. You, where are you based at the moment?
I'm at Boston, Lincolnshire at the moment, where I'm living at.
Oh, lovely. What a nice part of the world.
Yes, it's rural. It's very quiet, this area.
But during the war,
Yeah.
you were based down in South, weren't you?
I was at Worthing.
Down in Worthing?
Well, Worthing from 1935, and we left Worthing in 1941.
Oh, wow. And how old were you then?
How old? I was, I'll be about 11 or 12.
Wow, so do you have distinct memories of the war?
I remember nearly everything, what happened.
Golly.
All my friends, I've got my notebook here, all my friends which I had in King Edward Avenue, where I used to live, and everything. I made a note of everything.
Gosh. Did you keep a diary then?
Not a diary, no. I got my school book, The Pioneer, from Sussex Road School.
So what was it like being at school then, during the war?
Well, it was every day, the worst part was 1940, when the Battle of Britain was on.
Yes, of course.
Now, we had planes all day long and all night long. They were going to London at night, and I've seen them shot down at the High Salvington, when the Heinkel shot down there. Me and my sister were biked up there.
Did you?
Yeah, we biked to High Salvington, and this, it was a Heinkel 111K. I knew all the engines, we had them all down, you see. And this chap was in charge with a rifle and bayonet, and we asked him if we could go on, and he let us go on it.
Really?
Yeah, and he was holding a pair of blood-stained underpants, which no doubt belonged to the German crew.
Oh, golly.
Yeah, he let us go all over the plane, inside, everywhere.
Wow, that must have been a thrill.
It was very good, yeah.
You can't imagine that ever happening these days, can you?
No. Then another time I was in the school playground in Sussex Road School, and this German plane came over. It was a Junker 88. It was smoking from the tail engine, and we all clapped and cheered, and it was really loud, getting shot down, and it crashed into the sea.
Oh.
That's in 1940.
And in Worthing, just in sort
of... Yeah, and we saw that, you see, because we're trying to get back to Germany quick. It's that they've got to get out of the channel. And of course our fighters from Tangmere, which was the nearest, they was waiting for them. A lot of them were, you see.
Yes, it must have been quite terrifying.
Yeah, I remember Tangmere getting bombed as well. It was one Sunday afternoon, and the raid lasted for about half an hour. You couldn't see anything, but you could hear the crump of the bombs at Tangmere.
So did it...
At Worthing.
Yes.
Yeah,
so you could hear it all the way from Worthing, and Tangmere is...
The crump, yeah. And Portsmouth Harbour at night, we stand in the road at Worthing, and you see the night sky was lit up with the bombing of Portsmouth Harbour.
Good heavens!
Yeah.
So I suppose you could get up onto the downs then of an evening and sort of see across to Portsmouth and you wouldn't see.
Yeah,
Portsmouth.
We just stood in the road. You could see all the sky was lit up at night when the bomb Portsmouth, because Portsmouth got bombed a lot.
Did Worthing get bombed?
No, hardly at all. We got machine guns several times, but they bombed the gasworks.
Did they?
I had a friend, Georgie Wheeler, he lived opposite the gasworks in a sweet shop there. But hardly at all. When I was there, I had a machine gun at the time. I do hardly any bombing, because, I mean, there's nothing there in Worthing to bomb, was there, really?
No, of course, no. So when you say it was machine gun, in what way?
Machine gun the streets, a time or two.
So they would just come...
Just coming back, and if there were bullets to spare, they swooped down and just empty the guns, I suppose, didn't they, at that time?
Indiscriminately?
Yeah, indiscriminately. Oh, yeah.
So, apart from the crash up there on Salvington Hill, did you witness any other...
Yeah, I witnessed another one. I was coming home from school, and there was 3 Hurricane fighters circling this Heinkel bomber right over at King Edward Avenue. They're circling this Heinkel bomber, these 3 Hawker Hurricanes, and shooting at it, but what happened I didn't see because it went out of my vision after that. But they're certainly circling around this German bomber. 3 Hawker Hurricanes that time of day.
Golly. Were you ever scared during these raids?
I'll tell you one, that it was very exciting, but it was scary at the same time. It was scary. Yeah, especially at night time when all the bombers are going over to London, you could hear them revving up and going on. Sometimes about an hour at a time they're coming over. Must have been hundreds going to London, bombing, you see.
Yes, of course. Was any of your family involved?
No, my father and mother and my sister. No, they weren't involved. No.
So you had quite a lucky escape. Did you lose any friends and acquaintances?
Well, in my school book, there's several chaps who went to Sussex Road School. They got killed in the war. It's got a list of the names. I didn't know them.
Oh, right, okay.
I didn't know them.
So there was no plan to have you evacuated then?
Well, there were some evacuees at Worthing from London.
Oh, right, they were brought down to Worthing, so
yeah,
it was deemed quite safe then down in Worthing?
Yeah, then they moved to Hereford. After they stopped at Worthing, they moved on to Hereford from Worthing.
So what was it like with the rationing and things like that?
Well, we go to Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's shop took for most of our food. And then...
where was Sainsbury's then in Worthing?
Well, it was a big supermarket near the cinema, bottom end of Broadwater Road.
Oh, was it?
Chapel Road, there.
Yes.
Sainsbury's on the right. Yeah.
So were you deprived of sweets and all the sort of normal goodies that kids would have nowadays?
Well, there's no things like bananas, anything like that.
So did you have apples, other fruit?
Apples, yeah. But general food, it was all ration. You got a ration book. You had so much tea, so much butter, and so much things like that. But it's all on strict ration. You had to hand your ration book in and get it marked up, you see.
So when it was over, you'd moved by then, had you?
We moved in 1941 up to Worthing, up to Boston, and it was still rationed then. Up to about 1947, the rations were on. I think it finished in 1947, after the war.
So how did you feel once the war had finished?
Well, I don't know, because I like Worthing better than I liked it here.
Oh, did you?
I did like Worthing a lot. I had some lovely friends. And I was in the choir at Christ Church School, you see. I was in the choir there.
Oh,
Ambrose Place.
So there must have been a lot of camaraderie amongst all the people on the ground, you know, when all the bombers and stuff were going over.
Yeah, it's dreadful, really.
And how do you feel now that when you look at youngsters these days,
well,
I mean, we don't have a sort of a common enemy as such, but...
There's no respect today.
There isn't, no, you're quite right.
There's no respect. You see, when they stopped caning the children a few years ago, that stopped all punishment, and children just do as they like now, don't they? I think everywhere the same, but generally.
Just going back to the war when you were back in Worthing, was there any areas where your freedom was restricted?
Yeah. Splash Point. You had the seafront. You couldn't go on the seafront. It's all barbed wire all along, right up to Splash Point.
Is that to stop the Germans from coming
and
over?
there's one 6-inch gun at Splash Point, and with a soldier there with a rifle. I always remember that. But you couldn't go on the seafront. You weren't allowed. It was all barbed wire off, you see.
But you were quite able to sort of go up to the troops and just have a chat with them.
Yeah, we had them billeted at our house in Worthing.
Oh, at your house?
Yeah, Royal Army Service Corps. We had 2 billeted there, yeah. And they marched down King Edward Avenue, the troops did, with an officer, and he's knocking at every door to see if people would take him in.
So what was it like living with soldiers then?
Well, what I used to do, I used to clean the boots every morning, polish the boots up from. And we got 1 and 9 a night for each soldier. That's what we got. So
did they sort of get up early and disappear and then come back late?
Yeah. Then at the end, they all marched through the town, and where they went towards Worthing Pier. Whether there was a boat, whether they went over to France or somewhere there, I don't know. But they're lovely chaps, some soldiers, very well behaved.
How long were they with you?
About a week, 10 days. That's all.
So when they were there, you must have been very impressed.
Yeah, they're smart, lovely, clean chaps they were.
So that
very good they were.
I mean, as a young 12-year-old, it must have, as I say, you must have been very impressioned by that, and the discipline of the army must have appealed. Did you ever consider going into the army after?
Well, I did 2 years national service. I went in the army. I was called up. You see, national service.
Interesting. Do you think they should bring that back, the national service?
Never have knocked it off. Should have kept it on. It's the best thing that ever happened. It's a lot of discipline, you see, wasn't there? You had to do what you're told. You had to do that.
And that was, what was that, 6 weeks?
I did 2 years, I did in the army.
2 years?
Yeah.
And when you first go to national service, were you sort of like a fish out of water?
You were. Well, see, we went to Lincoln, and you did 6 weeks primary training there. That's with the infantry. And you did everything at the double. You had to do it. You had to go. When they said go, you had to go.
So it was...
Very strict.
It was very, strict and...
it was good.
Instilled into you, and you don't regret it at all?
No, not a minute. In fact, if they'd kept it on, there wouldn't have been all this trouble there is now.
Well, yes, that's...
Discipline, that's the basic of it all, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, of course, back in the Second World War, discipline was absolutely paramount.
It was paramount, wasn't it? Yeah, yes, it was.
Were you aware of things like the sort of campaigns that were things as walls have ears and don't talk to strangers and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, there was that, yes, yeah.
Did you have all the gas masks and...
We had those, we had them a year before the war, actually. Before the war. We had to carry gas masks to school and all that with us.
Because there was the phony war at first, where things...
Yeah, it was a phony war, yes.
And as a kid, I mean, presumably you knew that there was a war coming, but it must have seemed a hell of a long time before anything actually got going.
Well, everyone seemed to know it's coming. I remember I was in the house and Churchill made the speech, whirling in my house, and war was declared. I remember that day, whereas I'm sat here.
So during the war, were you... interested in, like you see in the old films and the pictures of people gathered round the radio, listening to the progress?
Yeah, well, see, there was 4 cinemas in Worthing, wasn't there, when I was there?
Oh, 4 cinemas, oh yeah, of course.
Plaza, the Dome, the Rivoli and the Odeon.
Golly.
Yeah.
And so you would go there regularly to see the newsreels?
Yeah, and Saturday morning at the Odeon.
Saturday morning pictures?
Yeah, and was in the Odeon Club. We all got a little badge with a Odeon on it.
So if you were in the cinema and there was an air raid, presumably you'd all have to sort of...
It light up on the screen.
Would it? Oh,
air
would
raid
it?
Warning, yeah. It tell you on the screen of the cinema, yeah.
So where would you go during an air raid? Did you have an Anderson?
Go to the nearest air raid shelter, and that was it, the nearest one. That's if anything was imminent.
Yes.
If the raid imminent, you go to the nearest shelter.
So did you have to do that at night time?
Yeah, oh yes, yeah.
Did you have one in your house or an Anderson shelter?
No, Anderson shelter, yeah.
And what would you do, stay there all night long?
Just go in and stop all night, yeah.
Was it cold?
Oh, the cold, yeah, very cold.
And did you have any brothers or sisters?
I got 2 sisters and 1 brother.
So younger or older?
1 sister older and my other sister and brother younger.
So you were sort of like looking after them, were you?
Well, more or less, but they were sensible. There was sensible people,